Hello, YouTube. Welcome in. We're back. Oh my god, it's been like nearly a week by the time you're watching this video. I know, sorry. We had a hailstorm. I couldn't upload. I couldn't live stream. It was a mess. Anyway, today we're talking about Arknights Endfield class system because it's kind of convoluted. There is a video on Renegade's channel that he uploaded a few days ago talking about the classes, how they work, if they're good, if they're bad, if they're convoluted, if they're straightforward, all that kind of stuff. So the main thing about classes in this game from my POV is that they are fine. For me, they're fine, and I think the only issue with them is they're not traditional names. Like, you don't have the DPS under the name of like just swordsman or something, you know, and there is a little bit more arbitrary stuff because there are also classes called specialists like this one here. So the guard is skilled in physical damage to enemies and inflicts physical status that do these different ailments. Defenders are tanks. Supports, crazy, hear me out, are supports. Probably the best name in the lot. Casters use art damage, and specialists have all sorts of abilities. They are the I wouldn't say a one-trick pony, but they are kind of off the beaten path and don't do something typical, but they have a great feature to kind of make the team work really differently, okay? And I know as well, typically, your DPS would run a sword, right? Well, let's look at this. You have Leviathan, who is a caster using arts damage, but their main wielding weapon is a sword. Whoa, crazy, right? And then you've got another one who is also a caster, Yvonne, who uses guns. They aren't constricted by their weapon to their class, which a lot of people are going to be used to coming from games like hoyoverse and Wuthering Waves, right? So let's find out, at least in the eyes of Renegade, if it is worth it, or if it is kind of dumb. I think it's fine. It does take a little bit of getting used to, sure, but it is no knock on the game to actually push this through and make it a final statement and not adjust it in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a great system, but that's just my 2 cents. Let's see if we agree
Should weapon type
or disagree. Okay, chat? And if you do like the video, obviously, please go like, comment, and subscribe. And not to mention, please go follow Renegade. I can't be able to say that out loud. As well as like the video if you haven't already. Just like this. Okay, let's look in and let's see if bro is cooking.
define an operator's class in Arknights Endfield? No.
Wait, I missed
Should
on that.
weapon types define an operator's class in Arknights Endfield?
No.
No.
Base.
Thanks for watching. Seriously though, I've been seeing a lot of debates about how Enfield should change how they assign operator class to reflect the weapon they are using, and while that's fairly reasonable, Arknights Endfield does what it does because it has a reason to do so. I'm gonna refer back to the original game, and I know what you're about to say. This is not base Arknights, but just sit tight for
you motherfucker. You have to God forbid! God forbid someone has to tell the Arknights elitists this isn't the first game. I see what you're doing, my friendo. I see, compadre. You think I see through your shenanigans. This isn't base Arknights. The blonde guy in the that he referenced there, he's kind of smart. I'm just putting it out there. He knows what he's talking about. Don't compare to the first game because they are so fundamentally different. There should be no comparison. And as he said,
because it has a reason to do so. I'm gonna refer back to the original game, and I know what you're about to say.
This is not base Arknights. Okay,
but just
keep it like that
for a moment. OG Arknights has been running for 5 years now, and even more than that in CN, and they have this crazy system to classify how they assign operator classes based on their design/weapon.
Okay.
And this is a system that worked for 5.5 years, and no one gave it any attention.
And that's also a thing that you should know too. If people don't really talk about something, that means they're doing a good job. And I think a lot of people kind of brush that off and think if it is it inherently ignored or not spoken about, that it's a bad thing, right? I think I think a great example, which is probably terrible to compare in gacha games, is that of sports. Hear me out. It's going to be pretty easy to grasp. If there is a bad referee in a sporting game, everyone fucking talks about him because he's making bad call after bad call after bad call, right? They want his head. They know his name. They know nothing, you know, or they know everything, right? But when you have a good referee, no one knows their name and no one ever talks about them because when they do their job right, there is nothing to complain about, right? Especially in something as arbitrary as a class system, it doesn't need to be insane because as long as it gets what it needs to do through to you, e.g. telling you what the class does, and having class synergy with other types of classes, we GG and we go next. If people talk about that, typically it's because it's bad. Okay, just keep that in mind. If it's shielded, it's exactly. It doesn't need to be a talking point. If it's not a talking point, I would argue it probably does a good thing.
Until it reached the 3D space, which is Arknights Endfield. Still confused by it? Let's
Why? This guy, he's weird.
play a quick game of Guess the Operator's class. Here we have Operator Dusk. As you can see, she has a gigantic weapon on her hand.
Clearly, she's a shield user.
Now, is she A, Guard, B, Defender,
Defender, obviously.
C, Vanguard, or D, Specialist?
Alright, boys, say it with me. Say it with me. Say it with me. She is clearly a guard.
If you answered A, you're wrong since the correct answer is E, Caster.
I didn't play the first one enough. I'm a fraud. I didn't play past fucking the 3rd month. Sue me.
Next up is Lapland the Decadenza. Is she A, Vanguard?
Caster! Look how long and pointy this is. It's like a
Or
wonder.
D, Healer? And the answer is, yep, you guessed it. It's E, Caster. Okay, I'll be fair this time. This is Texas de Omertosa, and your options are A, Caster, B, Vanguard, C, Guard, or D, Specialist.
I'm gonna say, again, I don't know this, but I'd like to think I get the game, okay? It is... Specialist.
If you answered D, then you're right. Congrats.
Yes!
Give yourself a pat on the back for me. And also, claps all around. I don't know if you can hear it, but I clapped. But anyway, you get the point. Now, I get how people are gonna be weirded out by the system the game has used for so long. And it's understandable since no one expects a caster to suddenly whip out a gun. Or a healer that deals damage for some reason, and the damage output is on par with what a caster is able to do.
100% agree. However, I will say it does create so much ingenuity in the possibilities of team building in this game. And it's going to be so fun, right? It is going to be so fun because if you're locked behind having a DPS that has to use a sword and you can't be a shield, I would like to imagine there is a reality where Snowshine, right, can probably unga bunga some damage, right? And with this system, it's pseudo possible. I think it's just inherently a great system to have, man, because there's variety in each class, and it's not shielder must use shield. You can have a gun-wielding shielder in the future for all we fucking know. That's hype as shit. I love that stuff. Not to mention as well, Japan runs a fucking sword. So like, it's already there, man. It's a great system.
And that's because the weapon used does not represent the operator's class. It's the operator's kit that falls under certain classes regardless of their weapon type.
Exactly.
Let's quickly take a look at the class description so I can further clarify what I mean. So for guards, they are skilled in dealing physical damage to enemies and can inflict physical statuses like lift, knockdown, and also knock enemies.
We spoke about this before, yep.
And if we quickly check all of the guards' operators' kits right now, starting off with the administrator, the admin uses a sword and her skill description all have indications towards physical damage and physical statuses like vulnerability and knockback. Chen is not escaping the allegations either since both her battle skills and combo skills.
Gun wielding shielder, we have that called they're called Sentinel Defenders in that original game. Did you not hear the blonde guy in the video? This is not base Arknights, brother. I hate myself.
Lips enemies. My man the Pan is also in the same boat since both his battle and combo skills cater towards enemies being lifted. And Li Fang's battle skill and ultimate deals physical statuses as well.
Yuck!
So far, all of their skills fall under what the class description said, which is dealing lifted, knockdown, and knockback, and most of them have different weapon types that normally you would associate as a guard, which is swords, great swords, and spears.
Exactly.
But you might be asking, Surtur, or Levitine as you may know her as, is a caster, but she has a sword. And going back to the class system I explained earlier, it's because her kit fits the description of what a caster is supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
As you check her kit, it has a lot of elemental infliction and even elemental resistance reduction. And checking other casters' kit as well, Perlica is in the same boat with applying infliction or even weakening enemies, which is exactly what it says on the description of what a caster is supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah.
And Yvonne has a gun. She's a caster, but going through her kit, it's mostly elemental infliction and debuffs to enemies, etc., etc. You get the point. But Renegade, Ember and Snowshine are defenders, but they also apply physical statuses like knockbacks and knockdown. They should be classified as guards instead, right? That's a good take, but defenders, as it said in the description, are very tanky and skilled in protecting and counterattacking. And very tanky is indeed what they are. Just look at my Ember. Don't let the fact that my Ember has an IQ of 50.
Hold on, let me move my face cam real quick for those who aren't watching this firsthand. 464 strength. I'm sorry, dude. Why are we going so hard in the paint? It's a beta. I respect it, but goddamn, I was not expecting that. Oh my days.
The 6 distract you from her HP, which is almost 11,000. Not only that, she has a talent that makes her deal more damage if she has more than 50% HP.
Yep.
And make her more durable if her HP falls below that. And going back to what the description said, Ember's combo skill will launch a counterattack after she or other operator controlled receives damage while also providing healing after doing so. And the same goes with Snowshine, with her battle skill providing a ridiculous 90% damage reduction to the entire team. And
I didn't know that. That is insanity. My days. My days. Oh my god.
also providing healing with her combo skill when the HP of your controlled operator falls under 60%. And again, all of the skills and kits I showed you so far perfectly fits under the class description, and this works perfectly fine. But again,
bro didn't read?
I can see how this is weird to some of you.
I'm an EN creator, of course I don't read. Who do you take me for, brother?
Since it ruins your immersion. I could go through every single class description if I wanted to, but I think I already got my point across.
It would take far
If
too
not,
long.
then that's too damn bad. I personally think this is fine, but who the fuck am I, right? I'm just an EN player, so maybe my words can convince you. So let's instead hear what the CN side of things think about this issue.
Alright, let's stop this real quick. CN side, do we think they're cooking or no? I would assume CN gives this a fat dubski. Because base Arknights over there, OG Arknights, I know I said it myself, it's not the same game, hear me out. It gets received very well over there unless you release Chen in a bikini during a summer event. That's probably the only instance shit does not go well. So I think that would be kind of calling this a big dub, and if that is the case, they're probably going to lean into this type of character categorization a lot in the actual release, providing there's no knockback. We'll have to see though.
So a Reddit user by the name of Mr. UM made a Reddit post with the title, "Change the weapons concepts."
You idiot! Sorry. When people have room temperature IQ, I get a little bit mad. I get a little bit quirky. I'm sorry. It's not. If I can get it, why can't you?
Followed by his thoughts about the
I'm unbiased.
issue. And when I first saw this, I was really surprised to see that there's quite a few people who are really bothered by the system, but we're here to see what the CN community thinks of this whole debacle. So one of the replies in that post was made by user rs-fate saying, "I asked a similar question to a CN forum reader, and apparently the current direction is supported by the CN player base." And rs-fate also provided a link to the CN forum reader's reply, which is Reddit user n-yayoy, and this is what the CN community has to say with the current weapon concept issue. The CN community supports it and believes the current method is already the result of hyperglyph compromising as much as possible. I have observed discussions on this on NGA, which, by the way, I believe is a CN Reddit version. I don't know.
Okay.
And the overall opinion is that they do not believe the current approach is wrong. And I also saw some discussions about the manufacturer's information behind the weapon lore, stories, and so on. Overall, they have a positive view on this.
I find that so interesting. It seems like, CN does obviously support it. Ian's kind of not a fan, But it's not like anyone's hell-bent on one way or another. It's kind of just down the middle, and it is what it is, if it is good or if it is bad. Because I think my biggest observation, at least of this, is people don't like it because of the, I guess you could say, lack of nuance, maybe. It's a good system, but I can understand how, again, this is the biggest issue with Arknights Endfield, and I mean this from the most unbiased and trying to push the awareness of this as much as possible. This is like the epitome of a gacha game, not for a casual player, right? They put, it's like Path of Exile. You don't get your 12-year-old cousin doesn't play Path of Exile, right? They don't know how the fuck to even open that shit. But like Path of Exile is aware of their player base. And ain't no one's going to appeal to any casual type of person. I think Enfield's kind of going, casuals, suck my nuts. We are going in this direction and deal with it, okay? And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I come from the belief of having more casuals in the game is inherently better, because it spreads the awareness of the game and it creates a more thriving player base. So when you get big updates, for example, like HSR had in Forest, granted that was very, very mixed when it was received, it brought everyone back to the game again. So I find that very interesting to have that perspective. But yeah, it feels like this type of, class system definitely is a big fist in the butt for casuals, in my opinion.
Also some complaints, but in every post related to this, I see the overall support for existing methods and overwhelms them. And people are praising the connection between weapon manufacturer information and OGAK lore, hoping it can enrich the details of.
I don't really care about the lore side of things. I care about the actual
Fate followed with a question
class
saying,
system.
I'm a bit surprised there's a wide support. Is there no concern with the possibility of no OGAK sniper themed characters at all?
So that's also something I don't get. I get the concern you have, but the game's very young. We're in the first beta. It had one tech test on the beta. They can always add shit in after the fact. In 1.3, they could add a new class if they really want. We see it in every other game. They always add something new when a game's been out for X amount of time. It doesn't take away from the ability of them to do that. It's just, it's just not in there. It's just in there on day one, and that's fine.
And they replied, on this issue, I found one thing. In the CNAK player community, no one has ever said that
aren't you curious about the pen? Use of the pen.
Personality, and I have not found any such statement. The only one post in NGA that has attempted to discuss this topic just to express doubt, not opposition, has been the one where most commenters have expressed opposition.
Interesting.
I even saw someone in a post bluntly stating that weapons can affect characters' design diversity is a viewpoint that is not worth discussing.
Oh my god, I couldn't agree more. Oh my, wait, holy based. Holy CN fans based. Oh my god, I didn't think they would ever do this. I agree with CN. Chat, this doesn't happen. So this is my biggest complaint that I have with gacha fans in general, okay? So, just for reference, there was a skin released in Honkai Star Rail. It was the March 7 Remembrance skin. And you can only use it on one variant of it. You can't use it on the other path you use, which is like a DPS variant, right? You know what everyone said? Good. It doesn't match her. It is not something that, in my opinion, you idiot, matches her. And it shouldn't be available on her because it doesn't make sense to that variant of the character. Separate that from your fucking headcanon, you insane piece of shit. You sound like Love and Deep Space Band right now, okay? It is so silly to kind of bind something to a character so much when it is a gacha game which is built around insane skin cosmetics and just being goofy as the longer the game goes on, right? The more creative you can get, the longer the game goes. So this is a great mentality, and oh my god, CN? Oh, I never thought I'd come around, but you guys actually got a small W right now.
The person also said, Hypergrip knows all of this, but they still built this system.
Think about that?
Isn't
Yeah, they
the
did.
reason obvious? It's impossible to delete the system. It's obvious. Don't be stupid anymore. The issue.
Don't be stupid. Yeah, people complained about the March 7th thing, and I found it so dumb because I'm like, I want it on both variants of it. And they were defending the grubby fingers over at goddamn Hoyoverse. And this is unrelated to the video, I'm sorry. But they were defending Hoyoverse to skimp out and give it to us in only one variant and not both. Even though the one variant they give it to us in, it's unusable. So, fuck you. To the Hoyoverse fans who think it should stick to the one version of the March skin, it should be on both of her, okay? Back to this.
The issue of weapon, in quotation, diversity that many people in EN are discussing is not much of a concern to many people in CN. They have not linked
I think it's
this
silly
to
if you defend
existing weapon systems. Even if someone discusses this issue, some people's responses are straightforward. Just increase the type of weapons. It's not a conflict at all. That's not the focus.
Yeah, you could bring a crossbow user into a shielder or, you know, guard role because of this system. It doesn't rule that out whatsoever. You can just add them into the game as well. You can add classes and you can add weapons alike. It's not a big deal.
The issue of the sniper you mentioned seems to have been discussed in several posts before the start of CBT, but it did not attract much attention. So there you go.
Yeah,
man! The CN/AK community thinks of the current weapon concept. Now, why am I bringing up the CN community? Well, you know, these gacha games tend to be really big in mainland China, and what CN wants is what CN gets, and what CN gets is what global players also gets.
Very
or
true.
At least in the Arknights community side of things. I don't know much about other gacha communities. So unless Ian makes an uproar about this current weapon concept and somehow it changes the CN community's opinion, it's probably safe to assume that it's not getting changed anytime soon apart from possible class or weapon changes for Yvonne or someone else. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the current weapon concept and what kind of beta issue you want me to cover next. Leave a like if you liked it, dislike if you disagree with my take, that's totally fine. Subscribe and ring that notification bell to be notified on my latest uploads as I upload sporadically, and most importantly, bless your faces and have a great day, gamers.
No, do not give the band a cum. I read that as the word's gun. Point is, okay, this is inherently a very good system because it enables so many different ways and paths to make characters, okay? I am on the school of thought, chat. We leave what I said in the past. Okay, guys. I'm from the school of thought that it is good if we are open-minded to it. It doesn't hurt anyone doing it the way it works. And it doesn't, you know, restrict characters. If anything, it does the opposite. It makes the characters more viable. In the future as a dev, if they want to make a DPS guard that uses a shield, they can, right? In other gacha games, if you have a shield class, you are restricted to that. And not only do they not get a different weapon, they can't be used in a different facet. So it's a good idea in my opinion. I get the conservation mindset of I am concerned because it's going to be confusing to casuals. Again, I'm the casual guy. I think for casuals, this is a fucking nightmare because they don't read as much as you tell them to. And I've proven time and time again that that is just the case, whether you like it or fucking not. And it's a shame that it is it. I don't know how they could really go around it. But hey, for those who want to stick around and enjoy a little bit more of freedom at the expense of understanding, it's got to do a bit more reading, okay, chat? Okay, but yeah, by all means, please follow Renegade if you didn't do the video, as well as subscribe to me on my channel or follow me on Twitch, whatever it may be. Do both. We live stream as well as upload videos. And yeah, tell me below if you agree or disagree with the type of class system. And yeah, keep it objective. Don't be like a wajaja. It was like this in the base game. It should be like this in the new game. Or a wajaja. I am from fucking Honkai Star Rail. Why the fuck is my shielder doing damage? You cretin. Okay. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.